On Valentine's Day Eve, I received a gift from my boyfriend, a used condom. My embarrassment when unwrapping the gift was live-streamed by him, drawing cheers from a bunch of scumbags online. They mocked me as a Qing Dynasty archway. Meanwhile, the bracelet worth 6 digits on his expense record was worn on the wrist of the girl I had sponsored. Furious, I wanted to confront him face to face, but unexpectedly, he kicked me out of the house. Suddenly, I really wanted to see his expression when he realized he had picked up sesame seeds while losing a watermelon. My phone screen hadn't even gone dark when my boyfriend Chris's call came through. "Nina, it's 6 o'clock, why aren't you here yet?" Before I could say anything, his tone turned impatient. "Still sulking? Nina, seriously, it's been days and you're still not over it? You're a 30-year-old woman, why are you acting like a little girl who needs coaxing?" Fine, I admit my joke went too far. I'm apologizing now. Don't go looking for trouble on such a special day. Hurry over. The busy tone rang in my ear, leaving my heart completely cold. Chris's so-called joke was the malicious livestream from a few days ago. That day, after work, we had just arrived home. Chris mysteriously pulled me over to the dining table, where a beautifully wrapped gift box sat. "What's this?" I looked at Chris in surprise. He urged me excitedly to open it quickly. "Nina, this is the Valentine's gift I carefully prepared for you. Open it and see if you like it." Hearing this, my heart was stirred. After 3 years of dating, this was the first gift Chris had ever given me. From the look on his face, I could roughly guess what was inside. It should be that bracelet I had tried on in the store for a long time, but didn't buy because it was too expensive, yet I had accidentally seen the purchase record in his pocket. Thinking of this, my fingers trembled slightly as I unwrapped the gift. But after tearing off layers of exquisite wrapping paper, what I saw was a used condom. Surprise! Chris's clown-like voice exploded in my ears. "Nina, isn't it shocking? Unexpected? Thank you, everyone, for the likes and gifts." When my dazed gaze lifted, I saw the phone camera pointing directly at me. "Nina, say hi to the audience." "Don't mind her, everyone, my girlfriend is just a bit shy." After saying that, Chris even reached out to pull me toward the phone. Instinctively, I grabbed the phone away, only to realize he had been live-streaming behind my back. Everything that had just happened was witnessed by the viewers. As I fumbled to shut off the stream, I glimpsed several perverted comments already flooding in. "Who's still a virgin at 30? So conservative in this day and age, must be from the Qing Dynasty. Bro, I suggest you start calling your girlfriend the Qing Dynasty archway from now on." The humiliating comments poured in endlessly, while Chris just laughed beside me. When he saw I had turned off the live stream, he looked annoyed. "Nina, you don't look good when you're angry." As he spoke, he grabbed me into his arms, his restless hands roaming all over me. "Nina, you haven't let me touch you for 3 years. I just couldn't hold back, so I came up with this trick to provoke you. Why don't we consummate our marriage tonight?" I couldn't comprehend how he had the face to say such things after what he just did. I couldn't hold back anymore and shoved him away hard. Chris stumbled and hit his elbow against the corner of the dining table. Rubbing his reddened elbow, he scolded, "Nina, you really don't know what's good for you. You're already a 30-year-old old woman. If not you, I could easily find someone else. Without me, let's see who would still want you. What a killjoy." With that, Chris slammed the door and stormed out. When my thoughts returned, I had already arrived at the booth in the bar. Waiting for me with Chris was another woman. Looking closer, wasn't that Amber, the girl I had sponsored? Amber spotted me before Chris did. She quickly walked up, extending her wrist with the bracelet. "You must be Nina, right?" "Hello, I'm Amber, the new intern at Kahua Technology." I ignored her and turned to look at Chris, sitting in the booth. What's the meaning of this? Bringing another woman with him on Valentine's Day, Chris was really pushing it. "It's nothing. She's just a young girl, I didn't feel safe letting her be alone." Chris tried to pull me into the booth. I stepped back. If that's the case, I won't disturb you too. I turned and had only taken 2 steps when Chris shouted angrily behind me. Nina, you stop right there. Amber also rushed over to hold me, her voice already choked with tears. Nina, I'm sorry, I didn't think this through. I'll leave right now. Please don't argue with Chris on such a special day. Before she could finish, Amber turned to grab the backpack on the booth. But before her hand touched the bag, Chris grabbed her wrist. Amber, don't bother with her, she won't dare leave. Chris, don't pull me. If you two fight because of me, I really... This scumbag and mistress were putting on a show right in front of me. Chris had a cleanliness obsession. The fact that he gave me that used condom meant only one thing, he had used it himself. And from how naturally their skin touched, I didn't even need to guess who he had used it with. Nina, if you dare walk out today, tomorrow I'll fire you. If Chris hadn't said it, I would have forgotten I still co-owned a startup company with him. After graduating, when Chris kept hitting walls while job hunting, he decided to start his own business. As his girlfriend, of course I supported him wholeheartedly. In 3 years, our small studio of 3 or 4 people grew into a company of nearly 200, gaining a foothold in the industry. Chris often took pride in this, believing it was all thanks to his extraordinary ability. But he conveniently forgot that at least 70 to 80% of the deals had been brought in by me. If he fired me, it would be like cutting the company's jugular. The next day, as soon as I walked into the office, I saw the HR director waiting for me. The HR director looked at me with an official tone and said, "This year the company's performance has fallen short of expectations. As the head of the sales department, you took a week off during a critical project period. Do you think you lived up to the company's trust in you, or to your colleagues in the sales department who have been working day and night?" I sneered. Why I took leave, you can go ask Chris. Because of that livestream, I was inexplicably cursed by netizens. Some low-value men even came to the company entrance to block me, throwing bloody sanitary pads on me, which once made it impossible for the company to operate normally. At the time, Chris used maintaining the company's normal order as the reason to force me to take a week off. Hearing my retort, the HR director sneered. Nina, we've worked together for years. Do I really need to spell some things out for you? What else was unclear? As the head of the sales department and a longtime employee, no one would dare move me unless Chris ordered it. Right then, Chris's message came in. Nina, as long as you apologize to Amber and me, I'll immediately tell the HR director to back off. Looking around, I saw a figure behind the money tree that I knew all too well. Trying to threaten me like this? I forced down the rage in my chest. Then what about my remaining 50% year-end bonus? The HR director said coldly. Considering the negative impact you've caused to the company, the fact that we're not asking you to pay damages is already saving your face. You still want your bonus? Let me make it clear, the results of the sales department are the effort of the whole team. Yet you've been taking the highest salary and highest commission. We cannot let a loophole exist where one person eats meat and drinks soup while others don't even get the broth. From the curious glances of my colleagues peeking through the doorway, I understood. Chris was clearly trying to use the crowd against me. But your severance compensation, the company will pay you according to humanitarian considerations. I sneered. Well, thank you so much for the company's great benevolence. If Chris had gone this far, even if I stayed, working here would be unbearable. 3 years of struggling with him, I was tired. Just as I was packing up my personal belongings, Amber swaggered in. Nina, I'm here to take over and supervise you, to prevent you from stealing company data on your way out. I looked at the HR director in confusion. The HR director clapped his hands toward the team outside my office. Everyone, a major personnel announcement, sales manager Nina has resigned due to personal reasons. From now on, Amber will take over as sales manager and be in charge of the Hope Project. The office instantly fell silent. Everyone's eyes shifted between me and Amber. Gradually, some eyes showed confusion, others anger. Amber, who hadn't even completed a week as an intern before graduating, suddenly became sales manager. Naturally, many were unconvinced. But everyone knew how to protect themselves, so no one voiced their dissatisfaction. The scene outside the office clearly boosted Amber's pride. "Nina, you've lost both the man and the job. Was it worth it?" She leaned close, pressing her proud figure against me. "A modern woman should know how to give." I tilted my head back slightly, smiling faintly. "Then I wish you, this so-called modern woman, get what you want." Amber's hand paused while pulling out a USB drive, then she waved it proudly in front of me. "As long as this Hope project succeeds, no one can question me. Besides, I have Chris." I sneered. "Sweet dreams, Amber." With that, I walked toward the elevator under the puzzled gaze of my colleagues. Realizing belatedly, Amber hurried after me, whispering sharply, "Nina, don't you dare play tricks with the Hope project. Otherwise, I'll make sure Chris blacklists you across the entire industry." "Blacklist me?" I wondered who gave them such confidence. I yanked my sleeve free from Amber's grip. "Amber, if you keep running your mouth, I'll make sure you can't open it again." Amber's face changed, shouting angrily, "Nina, don't be so smug. So noisy." I casually flagged a cab and started planning my layoff tour. Recently, nothing had gone well. It was time to take a trip and wash away the bad luck. Just as I was enjoying sunshine and the beach, my phone rang. It was Uncle Sam. "My dear niece, where are you now?" "Sonia, on vacation." "No wonder. But I still have to criticize you. Even if you're on holiday, you should have arranged someone reliable to handle the project in your place. Appearances matter." "Handle? Oh no." I suddenly sat up. Chris had messed me up so badly, I'd forgotten something important. "Uncle, I've been dumped after being used." "What happened?" I gave him a rough outline of events. Instead of concern, he chuckled. "Serves you right. You had a perfectly good opportunity as a client, but instead you slaved away as a vendor. I told you that guy wasn't reliable, but you insisted. Now you've run into a wall, and only now you realize." Humph. I knew Uncle Sam was right, but hearing it so bluntly stung my pride. "Good thing you listened to your mom. Otherwise, you'd never have tested this guy." I sniffled. I had secretly investigated Chris's family background before. Every elder in his family had voted against him. But back then, blinded by love, I insisted Chris was different from other men. Mom made a bet with me. If Chris could abstain from premarital sex, the family would accept him. It was meant to be a test of gold, but it turned out to expose him as fake. "So, are you still continuing with the Hope project?" What Chris didn't know was that in the early days of the startup, my parents had funneled plenty of projects into the company because they couldn't bear to see me suffer. I was, in fact, the company's biggest benefactor. And the Hope project, which every competitor in the industry wanted a piece of, would have been completely out of Kawa's league if not for me. My eyes flickered. "Uncle, let them hang for now. I'll deal with it when I'm back." Chris thought I was easy to bully. Time to show him he'd been blind. Life without work was so sweet. Life without work while watching gossip from my former company was even better. "Nina, things have been rough here. Amber, that amateur, thought with your proposal the Hope project was a sure thing. But after one polite meeting, the client never contacted her again. No yes, no no, just ignored her for days. Even Chris, who always shielded her, lost his temper today. He warned her that if she doesn't deliver soon, he'll find someone else to do it." The thought of the scumbag and mistress panicking together made me giddy. For Chris, love was always just seasoning for his career. His rush to win the Hope project was about showing off to investors, hoping to double the company's valuation. Investors had made it clear, as long as the Hope project was secured, their funds would arrive immediately. The sea breeze brushed my cheek, so refreshing. I sent a few casual replies, and after a long pause, another message popped up. "Nina, I overheard Chris planning with the HR director to lure you back. Be careful. Got it, thanks. Dinner's on me when I'm back. Chris was really desperate. After I came back from a dive, I found dozens of missed calls and messages from him. Finally, I picked up. Nina, where the hell have you been this past week? I've searched everywhere for you. Are you done sulking? If so, hurry back. I'll come pick you up. His casual, concerned boyfriend tone almost impressed me. Chris, if I remember right, we've broken up. Nina, stop throwing a tantrum. Couples fight all the time, right? I've already apologized. Just come back. Maybe last time wasn't clear enough. Let me formally notify you now, Chris, I'm breaking up with you. There was a second of silence, his patience had clearly run out. Nina, let's set the breakup aside for now. As the Hope Project lead, your prolonged absence has stalled progress. I'm ordering you to return to the company immediately. Mr. Chris, do you have goldfish memory? Only 7 seconds long? I've already been fired. If I'm not mistaken, my dismissal report is still posted on your company website. Chris's voice grew stern. Even if the company fired you, as part of it you still have an obligation to help solve its problems. Nina, I advise you, if you want to keep eating, you'll obediently come back and finish the Hope Project. I gave a cold laugh. Threaten me? Oh, I'm so scared, Chris. I'll be waiting for you to starve me. I immediately hung up and blocked him on everything. Chris really thought he had me in his pocket, that with a few soft words I'd come crawling back. When I loved him, he was my treasure. When I stopped loving him, he was just my plaything. A few days later, after my vacation ended, Uncle Sam picked me up and brought me back to the company. The first project I was put in charge of as a new executive was none other than the Hope Project. It was still the same project, but the difference in position made the feeling completely different. Being the client side was truly delightful. From the window, I sipped coffee while watching Chris and Amber shivering in the wind downstairs. I really wanted to see Chris's face when he realized. Yet his reaction was the opposite of what I imagined. When he saw me walk out of the client company's main doors, Chris froze for a moment, then his eyes flared with anger. Nina, no wonder you ignored me when I begged you to come back. So this was your scheme all along? Amber added from the side, Nina, we're all professionals. Even if you poach this project, your reputation will be ruined. Then, what company would still want you? I didn't even raise my eyes. I sneered. Even garbage like you two find work. No matter how bad I am, I'll never be worse than you. You. Chris stalked toward me, his face dark. Nina, judging by how angry you are, you must have been rejected. Of course, without our company's backing, you're nothing. Hearing that, Amber straightened her back and jeered at me. Exactly. A giant like Ding Feng International isn't a branch for stray cats and dogs to climb. You'd better get out before security throws you out. She made a shooing gesture. I rolled my eyes. I didn't despise her for being poor. I despised her for crawling out of the mud only to look down on those still struggling in it. Amber, after eating a few bites of city rice, you've already forgotten your roots? Amber's cheeks flushed red, her words stammering. And my words successfully planted suspicion in Chris's mind. After learning of Chris and Amber's affair, I had checked Amber's resume. Someone like Chris, selfish to the core, would never abandon me, who had a decent family background, for a girl like Amber who came from hardship. Sure enough, Amber had lied on her resume. As her sponsor, I knew all too well. Her father was in prison, her mother had died early, and at home she only had her younger brother and a chronically ill uncle. But in her resume, her parents were listed as college professors, and she is the only child. Compared to my ordinary working-class parents, suddenly I looked less competitive. Nina, you're just spouting nonsense like a cornered rat. I simply watched her go hysterical. The more unhappy she was, the happier I felt. Unexpectedly, she even called over security to drive me out. The security guards, who knew my real identity, wanted to explain, but I stopped them. And so, the scene formed into a tense standoff. Amber stomped her foot, yanking me toward the gate, just as I bumped into Uncle Sam. Chris rushed over, reaching out obsequiously. "Mr. Sam, hello, I'm Chris from Kahwa Technology." "Very nice to." Uncle Sam sidestepped his hand, looking Chris up and down, then raised an eyebrow at me. His expression clearly said, "This is the man you chose? What awful taste." My face darkened, but Uncle Sam lifted a hand to cut Chris off. "Nina, come to my office." He then strode away with his people. Once his figure vanished into the elevator, Amber sneered. "So much for seasoned professionals. What poor judgment." Her voice wasn't loud or soft, but it was enough for Chris to hear. His face turned blue, then white, his anger almost consuming him. "Nina, I thought I'd misjudged you. But I was right, you pretend to be virtuous, yet behind my back you've been with some sugar daddy. Insult me all you want, but if those words reached Aunt Mary's ears. TSK, TSK, TSK. I worried Chris's rotten tongue wouldn't last long. While I was considering how to let Aunt Mary know Chris was smearing her beloved husband, he dragged me into the elevator. He took a deep breath, as if deeply wronged. "Nina, I'm warning you, there are things you should and shouldn't say. Otherwise, I won't hesitate to fabricate a past that will turn every bigwig against you." That rotten tongue really had to go. The elevator doors opened, and Eva, the woman who'd been handling Chris's dealings, saw me and beamed. "Nina, you're back?" I hadn't spoken yet when Chris shot me a deadly glare. I rolled my eyes at him in return. "Sis, enough acting. Let's lay the cards on the table. Eva, could you kindly introduce my identity to these two? After all, my ruined reputation would also tarnish the company's image." Eva's smile froze, and she glanced at Chris and Amber with open disdain. She was an old hand in the industry and instantly understood, I'd been underestimated. As Dingfeng International's future successor, she had been waiting for an opportunity to leave a good impression. Now I handed her the chance. "Chris, Amber, let me formally introduce Ms. Nina. She's Executive Vice President of Dingfeng International, responsible for external relations." Chris's legs trembled at once, though Amber still refused to accept it. "Impossible. Dingfeng's VP is a man, not her." Ah yes, I'd randomly marked my gender as male when filling in the sponsor form. She must have borrowed. Shoo. I pressed a finger to my lips and turned to Eva with a shrug. "Please emphasize my connection with Mr. Sam. Mr. Sam is Nina's uncle. Dingfeng International's current chairman is Nina's father." Only then did Amber's mouth gape like a rhino's. You. I brushed her hand away and bent down toward Chris, who was nearly collapsing. "Chris, sorry to disappoint you. I never eat rejection here." Suddenly, Chris grabbed my fingers. "Nina, I was a fool, blind as a bat. But you know, it's always been you I love." My God. He still didn't understand, his so-called love card wasn't even worth scrap paper to me. "Oh." I pulled my hand free, turning toward pale-faced Amber. "And what about her? Isn't she the one you love most?" When I was bored on vacation, I had casually flipped through some old footage from my place with Chris. In corners I hadn't noticed before, I discovered the two of them had been hooking up long ago. That condom had been their first proof of love. I would never forget the sight of them, naked in each other's arms, plotting to surprise me. Amber had half-joked, "Aren't you afraid she'll actually leave you?" Chris was full of certainty, "Relax. She won't leave me. If this livestream boosts my account, I'll hand it over for you to run." So in his eyes, our 3 years together and my dignity were just tools to help Amber launch a livestream account. My mind returned to the present. I laughed and explained. "You must be curious. That livestream, after trending for days, suddenly vanished without a trace across the internet. It was you. Of course. My reputation is Dingfeng International's reputation. I'm sorry, Nina. I was blinded by greed. Looking down at Chris kneeling, knocking his head in apology, I suddenly felt bored. With a wave of my hand, Eva called security to throw Chris and Amber out. Needless to say, Kahwa Technologies' name vanished from the candidate list for the Hope Project. Relieved of the burden in my chest, I threw myself into work at the group. Uncle Sam, who had always wanted to retire, watched my busy figure with tears of joy. He clasped Aunt Mary's hand and walked out the doors without a backward glance. Sigh, neither of these old folks can be relied upon. Everything was moving in a good direction, except for one eyesore. After work one evening, I was blocked in the underground parking lot by Chris. That handsome exterior could no longer conceal his anxiety. His tone was agitated. "Nina, I was wrong. It was that fox Amber who seduced me. I lost control for a moment, that's all. That livestream, it was all Amber's idea. I didn't even know what was inside the gift box. I've fired her, cut ties completely. From start to finish, I've only loved you. Nina, forgive me, please?" In the empty garage, there was no one but the two of us. In the past, Chris had never done anything too extreme, but now, I couldn't be sure. Once word spread that Kahwa was kicked out of the Hope Project, investors pulled out immediately. Companies with intent contracts backed out. The company's rapid expansion made its cash flow collapse overnight. Desperate, Chris thought of Amber's supposed family connections. Amber had always lied, telling Chris her professor parents had plenty of successful students who could help him. But now, when he demanded her family's help, Amber cracked under the pressure. I had already sent proof of Amber's misconduct, misappropriating sponsorship funds for luxury goods, to the charity that supported her, cutting off her funding. Without that support, Amber struggled. Torn between her sick uncle needing medicine and Chris's demands, she broke down and confessed the truth. Chris, unable to face the reality that he had given up a phoenix for a barnyard hen, vented all his rage on Amber. He kicked her out, fired her, and even contacted her university to report her immorality, resulting in her losing both her degree and diploma. Such a vicious Chris, if I fought him head-on, I might not win. "Chris, this isn't what I want." "What do you want then?" Chris's eyes lit up. He pulled a box from his pocket. Inside was the bracelet I had once longed for. "Nina, this is what you wanted. I brought it. Let's forget the past and start fresh, okay? When had I, Nina, fallen so low as to desire a second-hand bracelet worn by someone else?" My silence made him think I was wavering. He dropped to one knee, holding the box up. "Nina, as long as you say yes, we'll marry. This will be my engagement ring." His voice grew more passionate, and he reached for my hand. Right then, I slapped him across the face. His dazed expression still carried a twisted smile. He tried to strike back, but security had already pinned his hands. Behind them, Uncle Sam and Aunt Mary beamed at me. "Nina, a bet's a bet. The company is yours." I massaged my forehead. To joke about succession, as if it were a game, these people were unbelievable. Just as I opened the car door, a chill ran down my back. "Uncle, are you kidding me again?" I turned, and my vision went black. When I came to, I was tied to a chair. Opposite me stood a disheveled Amber. So, I had been kidnapped. Great. Twice in one day. Was this fun for them? Ha ha ha, Nina, or should I say, my dear sponsor. Long time no see. Spit flew from her mouth, spraying my face. I knew this wasn't good. Amber was far more unhinged than Chris. Who knew when my parents or uncle and aunt would realize I was missing? "Amber, calm down." "Calm down? You ruined my career and my love life. How can I calm down?" "Amber, listen. We're both victims. It's Chris who destroyed us. Don't throw away your future for him." "Future? What future? Without a diploma or degree, what future do I have?" A cold blade pressed against my throat. "You rich daughters will never understand how hard life is for us poor people. You blame me for stealing Chris, fine. But why did you have to ruin my graduation? Since you want me dead, then you won't live either. Stop. I shouted. It wasn't me, it was Chris who reported you to the school. Impossible. I gestured toward my bag tossed aside. I always carried a recorder for work. If you don't believe me, play it. You're stalling for time. I'm not. Even if I die, I'll die with a clear name. Perhaps my conviction shook her. Amber hesitated, then played the recording. With every line from Chris's voice, Amber grew paler. She never imagined that the man who had treated her so sweetly had personally cut off her only escape. Sis, don't be so naive. You're still too young. Take it from me, never trust a man's sweet talk. Tears streamed down her face as she nodded. But when she realized too late, I had already slipped free and tied her up instead. How did you escape? I rubbed my reddened wrists and smiled. I was kidnapped once as a kid. Learned some self-defense to survive. Not to criticize, but your rope work is terrible. The wail of sirens cut off our talk. Police rushed in, and I pointed calmly at Amber. Officers, she's the one who kidnapped me. They gave me skeptical looks until I showed them the recording. After that, 2 officers dragged Amber out. I pointed at the miniature camera disguised as a button on my blouse and smiled at the policewoman. Recording life. I stretched lazily under the sun as I stepped out of the warehouse. Amber had used too much knockout drug, I'd just enjoyed a long nap. So comfortable. My parents rushed toward me, frantic. Nina, are you hurt? Are you okay? I wriggled out of Mom's suffocating hug, spinning around and even hopping twice. See? I'm fine. I can still jump. Dad comforted Mom, then smiled at me. Good. Don't forget you've got a meeting at 2 this afternoon. Be on time. Heaven help me. Were these really my parents? Why the frown? You wasted 3 years out there. From now on, you'll make it all up to us. God. Amber, maybe you should have tied me up again. But Amber wasn't coming back. At the police station, she and Chris had a fateful encounter. Amber, crazed, broke free from the officers, pulled out a hidden razor, and stabbed Chris, ruining him permanently. When I heard the news, all I could do was sigh. Sacrificing your entire life for a man like Chris, utterly not worth it.